Hey, Dr. Dyer here, talking about research in human development and family science. What are questionnaires, and why do scientists sometimes use questionnaires instead of interviews? A questionnaire is a measurement tool for asking questions of the participants in the research and getting them to answer. It's different from interviews in the sense that questionnaires are administered independently. There's no interviewer present. The questions are presented on a piece of paper or on a computer screen, but either way, they are written out, they are completely static and unchanging, and they are stable. They will be asked in exactly the same format with no nuance from one participant to the next to the next. This is the advantage of having them written down. Just a little side note, a structured interview is essentially a questionnaire, but it is one that is administered verbally, maybe to a young child who can't read yet, and so you can't allow them to read their own questions. They wouldn't be able to, or maybe because it's offered over the telephone. But structured interviews will have some features of interviews and some features of questionnaires. Questionnaires work best for measuring complex social constructs that have already been defined by theory. What do I mean by a social construct? It is something that exists in the social world, and people who share a culture, or they share a social network, they know what the thing is, but it's not an object to be placed on the table. The example I'm about to talk about is relationship quality. Constructs often have multiple dimensions, and there are theories that develop around, let's say, what makes a high-quality, functioning, happy marriage or other adult romantic relationship. Those dimensions are the organizing principle for the questionnaire. Each dimension is then measured through multiple indicators. The indicators are the items or the questions on the questionnaire. I'll show you an example. This is the Dyadic Adjustment Scale is an instrument to measure relationship quality. It was developed in the 1970s by Spanier. It's been used extensively since then. This is based on a theory that says there are 4 dimensions to the quality of relationship. We'll go through them one at a time and talk about indicators, but please notice that the theory comes first and the questionnaire is constructed to match the theory. The first dimension that Spanier built into his questionnaire is consensus, and this is essentially how well the two partners agree with each other, how much the two partners agree with each other. And that can mean a lot of things. So he's listed a whole bunch of things. These are all indicators of consensus. How much do you agree with each other in the way you handle family matters? How much do you agree with each other in recreation, in religious matters, in friendships, etc., etc.? All of these are indicators. No one of these is the final word on whether the relationship has consensus, but a bunch of them are listed, and in this case, you get a numerical score for each one, and those get added up. That's how they do it. Some questionnaires, you might take an average of all those items. In this case, they're added up. So that's consensus and how it is conceptualized through those indicators. The next dimension on this instrument is satisfaction. How happy people are with this relationship. And you can see how it's measured here. How often do you discuss or have you considered divorce or separation? And obviously, the more often you've considered ending the relationship, probably the less satisfied you are in it. Each one of these questions here is an indicator. They are not the final word on whether someone is satisfied or not. They are just indicators of satisfaction. The next dimension is cohesion, which is sort of how the pair functions. Do they kind of get along? Do you and your partner engage in outside interests? Do you have interesting conversations? Do you laugh together? This is cohesion. The final dimension on this scale is affection, and you can see some of the items there that are used to measure affection. How was this instrument made? How are any questionnaires made? Please note, it's a very difficult, long process. To make the Dyadic Adjustment Scale, the scientists